Hi there, my name's Vince from My Mate Vince, and in this video today we're going to be looking at something that I've never looked at before, and I don't think there's any repair videos out there, which is kind of unusual for YouTube. I had a quick look now and I could only find some teardowns off them, and also even on Google I couldn't find any repair things apart from people saying that sometimes these power bricks go. Anyway, these were sent over by Liam. He's a Patreon, and he said that there's 240 Steam Links that get no power. There was no real information on the eBay listing either. I opened up one to have a look, but no clue how to fix it, so sealed it up. The other one hasn't been touched. So one's been looked at, one hasn't been looked at, and he's also sent in a working Steam Link as well, so I can compare the differences between the working one and the faulty ones, and hopefully I might be able to work it out a bit easier. He said here that there's supposed to be some error indicators that use Ethernet LEDs, but I've never seen them flash. You might want to Google this and see if it helps. Now, when these arrived, I did just quickly plug them in. I haven't plugged them into the TV, and sure enough, the working one has the Ethernet ports at the back, the Ethernet port that LEDs light up, but these two don't do anything at all. So I'm going to plug it in, and so we know that this power supply is working. What they are, if you don't know, is Steam is like what PC gamers would use to download their games and stuff. And what this will allow is it will allow you to put it onto a separate TV in the house, and then you would be able to stream your games from your PC. So nothing in here is actually playing the game, it's streaming from your PC over to here, either via wireless or via Ethernet. I presume Ethernet would be a lot better. Anyway, if you have a look here, you can see that when you plug it in, the Ethernet ones light up here, but on these ones they don't do anything. So nothing's happening here and nothing's happening here. It doesn't feel particularly loose, but maybe the port's damaged here where it's plugged in, the barrel jack, or could it be fuse related, or is it going to be unfixable? I really don't know. I just want to plug the working one into the TV and see what it displays. So it looks like it's coming up with something straight away. There we go, so you can see Steam Link there. Right, let's see now if we plug these ones in, whether it brings up anything on the telly. And you can see it's not bringing up anything there. It's going to be quite an interesting one. The little experience I've had with Steam stuff, I think it seems quite nicely made, because I got the controller years ago and it was a real weird thing, the way that you could move your thumbsticks around, like the mouse things up here. Really unusual, but very nicely designed. Right, okay, let's get them over to the blue mat and see what's wrong with them. Will we have the same fault on both of them, or will it be something completely different? I think it's going to be an interesting one. I don't know why, but I'm excited about this one here. I think it's just no power faults I really like. Liam did send me stuff before, because he recently got into 3D printing. And if you look here, look at My Mate Vince's face, how good is that? That would be for putting wires in to help you solder. So like a solder helper. He's also done this. It's kind of just novel. I'm not saying it's better than wire strippers, of course it's not going to be, but it's still a kind of novel idea, isn't it? That you can make stuff yourself. So yeah, so you put your wires in there and then obviously do that with the blade and then pull the wires out there. And look at this little thing here, a little solder dispenser. I probably wouldn't be using them, but it's still nice to see, you know, that you can make stuff yourself like that at home. It's good, isn't it? Yeah. And also look at this. This arrived a little while back. Look how vibrant this is. It says, "Hello Vince, I'm starting up my business called Flawless Slates, and I've made you one of my products. Please would you give my business a mention on your YouTube channel? It would mean so much. Flawless Slates Facebook, www.flawlessslates.co.uk, that's the website. P.S. I love your videos, Gemma." That's nice. Do you know what? The ratio to men and women on this channel is unbelievable. It's something like 95, some videos is 98% male. There's a real small audience of women on this channel. So it'd be nice to grow that side of it. It'd be nice if more women got into repairs. Look how vibrant this is. The colours is unbelievable. You ready? First of all, look, it is proper slate. It's got a nice bit of weight to it. Look at that. You've got to admit, that is nice, isn't it? Imagine getting loads of them and tiling your splashback with My Mate Vince. Or your bathroom, your shower. It's nice, isn't it? Thanks, Gemma. Right, on with the actual repair. So, I think we need to take these apart, and I think we need to follow the voltage on the way in and see what's happening. I better say just now, just in case I get flooded with a load of things from like LED companies and stuff, I don't normally actually show what I get sent on my videos, unless I've agreed to it beforehand. Right, so let's forget about the working one for the moment. I can see looking at the back that it looks like this has been the one that's open, because can you see the rubber thing isn't perfectly aligned, while on these ones they are. So let's start with the one that's already been opened, and we'll take it from there. Right, this is model 1003 and 1003. So they're all the same, 1003. And you need a Torx 6 to get to the screws. Right, and then you just work your way around the bottom, unclipping it. So they're nice and easy to get into. Haha, here we go. Now this is a massive heat sink, yeah, from the thermal pad here. So the main little CPU or processor, whatever, is in there. So now I am interested in this power jack here. So let's plug the voltage in and see if we can measure voltage. That must be a fuse. See if we can measure voltage going in. Right, my probes are too big to actually get into that hole in the middle there. Let's plug it in here and see if we can see what voltage is coming in. Oh, here we go, 4.7. Right, we've got 4.7 there. So 4.7 is definitely coming in. Right, let's flip it over and let's see what's happening at this fuse. So I'm going to use a ground. I'm just going to use this for the ground, I think. Maybe that's not a ground. No. Okay, let's use this shield here as the ground. Yep, 5 volts there. And nothing there. Hold on. 5 volts here. Oh no, 5 volts here. Oh, it's not the fuse. Ooh, right, okay. Let's zoom in and have a look, see what else is going on. So it's not the fuse and it's not the barrel jack. We've got an inductor here. Let's just look for any burnt components. Another fuse here. Should we check that fuse? Yeah, that's okay. Let's flip it over. Again, this is a barrel jack here. That's one of those little aerial things, an antenna thing, isn't it? No, one and another one here. Where do they go to? Oh, they go to these things. Yeah, antenna. Ethertronics. There's loads of them. So that must be for the Wi-Fi. I wonder, could it be a shorted cap? What's that? Don't think it's anything. Right, I can't see anything wrong with it at all. Doesn't look to be burnt components or any damage anywhere, no water damage or anything like that. Should we try to pry this up and see what's going on under here? I can sort of see staining around here, so that must be from heat. I hope it's not just the main chip that's fried. There we go. I'll straighten that up later on if I get it working. So thermal pad here, which then goes onto this massive heatsink here. So that is the main little chip there. Got a load of inductors up there. Crystal, just here. SMSC. I don't know what any of these chips are for. Right, again, I can't see anything obvious in there. Doesn't look any like there's no blackened components, no obvious burn marks. Should we have a look under this shield, the other side? Okay, right, a load more chips. SK Hynix. That's some sort of memory. I think that's some sort of memory chip or something. I've seen that before, this one here, but I can't remember where. I'm not sure if it was a PlayStation Vita. Probably a similar sort of age to these things here. Right, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, and I'll tell you what that reminds me of. A memory stick. You know, a USB memory stick? So I wonder, is that storage? Would you need storage on here? Right, okay. I tell you what we'll do. Let's put pressure on each of the chips, just in case it's drop damage. So when we plug it in, I'm going to have to keep plugging it and unplugging it. Well, mind you, I suppose once it gets power, the Ethernet ports will light up. So I'm plugging it in now. Ethernet ports are not lighting up. So let's put a little bit of pressure down just on this chip here. See if anything happens. No. This chip here is not, well, that's not BGA. There's no point in doing that one. This is BGA, this one here. Let's put pressure on that one. No. And that's not BGA either. So really, apart from them two, there's no BGA chips on here. I wonder, is it a faulty capacitor? I wonder how far the 5 volts goes into the board. Let's zoom in a minute. I don't even know which is the feed. Where is the other side of that fuse? It just goes down to here. It's going to go to vias. Where's that going to go to? I would say that's probably that side of the inductor. Yeah, 5 volts. So this looks like a pretty major rail. Right, so it goes into the transistor. Does anything come out? Yeah, 5.1 volts is there. Nothing there. Where does that then go to? Over here? 5.1. Into here, 5.1. Does it go here? No, does it go here? Ooh, hold on a minute. Right, nothing there. Nothing there. Something here, 5.1 volts. Is that right? Or does this need to be... Is that the problem? Or does this need to be switched on to allow it to go through? But again, why is it not switching on? There's no on and off switch. It's just when you plug in the back, it starts working. I wonder if we should take apart the working one and see if we have 5 volts going through here, this component. If we do, it looks like we found a faulty component pretty quick. I'm just wondering, does it need to be enabled by a chip before it will pass voltage through? I think I would struggle to fix this in its own right. I would be looking at what that transistor is there. But in this case, I'm going to take apart this one and I'm going to see if we have any voltage going past that transistor. LEDs are on here. Let's see what's happening on that one there. So we have on the top, interesting, we don't have anything. Right, what do we have on the bottom? 5 volts. I'm confused now. I need to zoom in again. So where was it? Here? Yeah, 5 volts. So we have 5 volts here. Got 5 volts there. We have 1.6 volts there. 1 second now. And 5 volts here. I need to double check that on my one. So we're going to have 1.6 volts here. Then it goes through the resistor. And we haven't got any voltage. So we've got 1.6 volts here and nothing here. So is this a little voltage regulator then, which has 5 volts on the input, 5 volts here, and 1.6 volts here? Right. Let's double check that with this one. So that side of the, let's call it voltage regulator, 5 volts. Top, nothing. That one there, 5 volts. I think the voltage regulator has failed, which is then pushing 5 volts right the way through here, even through the resistor, still 5.1. I think what we need to do is, let's swap those components over, and if the fault follows, so if this board becomes good and this board becomes faulty, we know that that little voltage regulator has failed. If the fault stays with this board, we know it's not that, and it's something controlling that which has failed. So let me get a little bit of flux, a little bit of heat, and we'll see what's happening. Enjoying this one. It's always good to enjoy your work, then you'll want to do more of it. Now, other people that enjoy my work as well are the My Mate Vince Massive. I tied that in quite nicely. Thank you very much. Now, the massive members this month are kitdigital.com, Kip Hakes, Max Rokotansky, Having Fun Repairs, Will Michaelis, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeebs.com, DJVG, Ellis Garbett, Pigsy, Robert from Timsy's Auto Air, Daniel Watson, Zeke C, and Anthony Dean. All those names seem to go really nicely together at the moment. So, massive thank you to the massive. Now, let's see what happens now after we've swapped over these two, what I'm going to call voltage regulators. Okay, it's still, that heatsink is amazingly warm. But this one seems cool. Should we plug this one in and see what happens? So remember now, working one, faulty one, but I've swapped over what I'm going to call the voltage regulator. Are we going to now have lights on here? No, we're not. We're not. So it's not that. 5 volts. Now 1.6. You're not going to turn 1.6 into 5. It's more likely to turn 5 into 1.6. I'm slightly confused there now, if I'm honest with you. It's kind of hard when you don't know. I should have tested the pads when they weren't on the board to see where the 5 volts was coming from. Have we got the LEDs? Yeah, we got the LEDs on. They came on for a second there. Look. Can you see? Right, okay, what am I going to do now? What have we got here? See, we've got 5 volts on that chip down here, this one down here, and then nothing up the top. I wonder, could it be that one? Should I pop this one off and then see where, where the voltage is, see, should we have 5 volts here, or is it somehow, yeah, I think we should. I mean, really I wanted to do it on this one here, but we've swapped it over and it's still working, so it's obviously not faulty. Let's pop off this one here and then see what it's doing. Okay, so let's start off on the working one. Hopefully these lights are not going to light up. Excellent, which they haven't. Okay, so we know it's important. Let's now see what voltage we're getting. So, on this top one here, we are getting nothing. That side of the resistor, 5 volts. Excellent. That side of the resistor, 5 volts. So surely we must be 5 volts here. We are, sorry, we are 5 volts. Here, 5.1. Here, nothing. I think that's the faulty component. So now, let's go on to here and see if it reads the same. Hopefully it will. Top one, 5 volts. Bottom one. No, we're not getting anything there. No, we're not getting anything there. So it's not the faulty component because we're not getting anything on that bottom right. Let me just doubly make sure on that. But this is good because now we've got something, we've got a path to follow. Right, so this is really good because we've made progress now. We now know that the bottom pad should have 5 volts and it doesn't have 5 volts. So that must be where our fault is coming from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder on a little green wire onto it just to make it easier to test because I need to know where this feeds. It's an incredibly hard board to work out because there's wires all over the place and each track or trace, if you want to call it that, will only go a few millimeters before it will go to a wire and then off to the other side of the board or disappear on the internal layers because I think this is a multi-layer board. I've also in this next bit of the video removed the fuse as well. I just wanted to see which side it was getting power from. So when you're looking at the board now, you're going to see me soldering on a green wire and the fuse is now missing. But the fuse comes very early on, pretty much straight after the power jack. So it's kind of irrelevant. I just wanted to know which side it was getting power from. So if I didn't have the working one, there'd be no way that personally I would be able to fault find this at all. So now I'm going to turn it over, I'm going to attach one of my leads to this bit here, and then I'm going to go across the component, see where it comes up. Right, please come up somewhere around here. Oh, here we go. Down here, fantastic. Okay, you're coming up down here. So this is where schematics would be good, you see, because you'd be able to trace it. So it's this test point here it's coming up on. So is this faulty? Is this not pushing through the correct voltage? Yeah. So I'm just going to solder the fuse back on and then we'll measure the voltage difference between the good board and this faulty board here and see what it's doing down on this test point and this other transistor. And let's see what we have on this test point. There you go, 5 volts you see. So let me go on here and here, but we have nothing there. Right, let's see now. Here to here and to here. And we've got nothing, surprise, surprise. So we got nothing there. So we've got nothing there, we're not going to have anything the other side. Oh, what? We now have 5 volts up here instead of here. What's going on? But yet on the working board, we don't have 5 volts up here. This is just getting weirder and weirder. I'm going to have to end up taking off all the components. Right, this is a working board. And we have 5 volts here, but nothing here. What's that about? Has a chip shorted somewhere and is pushing 5 volts through the wrong path? Because it just seems so weird that we're having voltage here and on the good board we have voltage here. What's that about? Because if there was an internal short here, then we'd have 5 volts here and here. It's like it's just completely crossed. Oh, this must be one hard video to follow along to. It's a hard video to edit because I spent hours comparing the differences between these two boards, going across the chips, the capacitors, looking for any abnormal grounds. And the only difference I could see between the two is that, weirdly, we have 5 volts on one pin of the transistor on the good board, and for some reason we have 5 volts on another pin on the same transistor on the faulty board. So I'm trying to speed things up a little bit with a voiceover, and hopefully you won't get completely lost along the way. So basically, on this new transistor that we've now found a difference difference in voltage on, I take them off, and sure enough, on the actual pads themselves, the voltages are different. So it's not a faulty transistor, it's the pads themselves. So what I'm doing here now is I'm actually putting the transistor back onto the other side of the board. Remember the first transistor we took off? And then I'm going to move the green wire and I'm going to put it to the leg of where the 5 volts should be on the newer transistor where we found the difference on. And then I think what would be a good idea is, how about if we put the power supply back into the faulty one? And then how about if we inject 5 volts into that rail that's missing? Will the steam link come alive on the TV, or will it go up in flames? So that's what we're going to try next, because as far as I can see, the problem here is that we haven't got a 5 volt rail when we should have a 5 volt rail. So if we give it the 5 volt rail, will this little steam link come to life? Let's find out. Okay, rather than bring my bench power supply over, I'm just going to use this little battery pack. 3 batteries, but they're full. So 1.5 is going to be 4.5 volts, but it's probably going to be 4.8 or 4.9 because they're completely full. Let me just see if it's going to work. So when we plug this in here, it's going to be dead. Let's plug this in here. Okay, that's fine. So now, so there's nothing happening on screen. If I was to connect that to there, and this to, can you see? Hopefully you can see. Right, let's see now, is anything going to happen? My Ethernet lights are on. Oh, there we go, Steam Link. Check it out, look at that. Amazing. Right, okay, I won't do it any more than that because obviously we've just kind of bypassed stuff. But that's good. So it's because we're missing the 5 volt rail there. Why? What's generating the 5 volt rail? Why is it? It's because it's a multi-layer board. It's so hard. I think I need to go back to this. I think I need to go onto this here and just use the probe. And it has to be coming up on a chip somewhere, surely. You know, something's making that 5 volts. So there has to be a voltage regulator somewhere. Okay, it's a lot later in the evening now, and I've been working on this for about half an hour off camera because basically I want to see where this goes to. So we know that 5 volts is missing from this rail, but it only goes between this one here and a tiny little wire. So let me just zoom in just in case you've forgotten. This is all it goes to and from. You can see it goes from here to here. There should be 5 volts on here and there's not. We've got 5 volts here, but not here. As soon as we put battery voltage in here, 5 volts, then it comes to life. But I don't know where this is coming up. Obviously it's here and it's here. But this wire goes to this area here. So I took off this little USB port, hoping to see that maybe I could see the wire, but it's not here. It just disappears. If you have a look, can you see? It's here, which is going to be roughly around this area here. I mean, listen, it might be this one. Let me just, but it doesn't go anywhere. Let me just scrape this one back here, just to see if it is. Right, let me just check. So we've got it here. I'm just going to check down here, make sure my leads are okay. Right, so we've got it here, yeah? Yeah, so it's here. But you can see that that's a via in its own right. There's nothing else there. And if you look at the board, I don't really know how to tell a multi-layer board, but if you look at these bits here, can you see the prime example? Can you see it looks like there's kind of dots in the middle here? Let me just get it to zoom. There. And I'm thinking that this might indicate that there's 2 layers there, as well as the top and bottom. So would this be a 4-layer board? Because I can see like a black line here and a black line here. So basically, without schematics, I cannot find where this thing is coming up. So what I've been doing is just randomly going across. I think I've done everything. I've been probing for about half an hour, just going across all the test points, because there's test points, especially on this side. There's test points absolutely everywhere. And I've been doing this, and my meter goes very quick. Watch, you know, just one little tap, and you can hear my meter's really responsive, yeah? I cannot find it anywhere apart from coming up here, 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 and that part of that transistor, yeah? Only in this area here. I can't find it coming up anywhere else. And I've even cut away these things here, yeah, around all these things here. And I had a look online, and there is an iFixit guide, and it says that this one here is the voltage regulator, yeah, And also, but you can hear there's nothing there. I've gone across all the resistors and capacitors around here. And this one here is apparently a voltage regulator. And look, it's not coming up here. I know this would be extremely rare, especially because the board's in such good condition. I think that it's got an internal trace that has become no connect, disconnected. Either that, or it goes to a BGA under this one, more than likely under this one here. But you would think it would come from the voltage regulator chips. So I don't know. I've gone across everything. What I'm thinking about doing, it's going to means that this one will never work again. I'm thinking about taking off the CPU just to see if it goes to one of the balls underneath. Really, if it's a disconnect fault, then I'd need to take the CPU off the working one. I've also gone onto this one here and taken the things off. Again, I can't find it coming up here or on this voltage regulator, and I've spent about 5 or 10 minutes going across everything else and I still can't find it. But I haven't cut up this board yet, because remember, this is the working one. So even if I take that off, if I don't hear it coming up here, then it doesn't mean that it's not there. It could be a no connect between the two. But what's the odds of it going faulty in the board? I think pretty slim. See, the problem is with all these wires and stuff, we don't have, I'm just scraping here, with all these wires we don't have, I can't hear them. It's got solder mask on it, so I can't get to any of them. I'd have to scrape off everything. So it could be going to one of the wires around the CPU, but I'd have to scrape every single one off, which would be a nightmare. But when I go across all the components here, it's not coming up. So with my infinite lack of wisdom, I apply flux all around this chip, and then I apply heat and take it off. This will expose all the solder balls underneath it, and that way then we can see whether or not this mystery trace that's missing its 5 volts is generated from this chip area. That actually came off really nice. You know what, I'd love to hear it beep, but thinking about it, it's 5 volts that's missing. So if 5 volts was missing, oh, that chip's not going to be running on 5 volts, is it? Right, let's see now, is it still coming up over here? Yeah. Please, please, please beep. Oh no. No. Oh, where are you? It's not there either. Do you know what? It wouldn't be there, would it? Because that chip's not going to be outputting 5 volts. It's probably running on 1 or 2 volts or 3.3 or something. Where could you possibly be? Oh, real shame. Remember, we've got no shorts here. There's no short to ground. If you had schematics here, it'd be so much easier, because it would tell you exactly where this goes to. It's impossible. If there's a disconnect and it's deep in the board somewhere, just how can it be disconnected when it all looks so good? Don't know what else to do. It's not even worth me taking that off, is it? It's not going to be going under there. Oh well, look, the board's ruined now anyway. I might as well take it off. I thought I was going to fix this, you know, when I got it working on the TV with the battery pack. I thought it would have been a real nice video. Okay, let's see. Imagine if it came up here. This is all just little data, isn't it? Because you can tell by the tracks are all so small. Right, okay, I think I have to put this one down to an internal fault on one of the internal layers. A disconnect fault. Strange though how even on the working one, it doesn't come up here. You know, on that voltage regulator or that voltage regulator here. I mean, look, you can see that I've run a wire from the same spot here, and yet I can't find it anywhere on here either. Really, really, really bizarre. Right, okay, real shame. Let's move on to the last one, and we'll go straight to this point here, and let's see if it's working there. If it is, it's going to be a different fault. If it's not working there, then we know it's the same fault, and we're still going to be no wiser. Okay, here we go. Let's plug this one in and let's see what's happening on this little transistor down here. Is it going to be the same fault? I reckon it is. So, let's have a look. Do we have 5 volts? So in here, and let's go to the top. Right, 4.8 volts there. Seems a little low. Let's go here. No, there you go. Nothing there either. Same fault. Why? So it's the same fault. So now, isn't that interesting? 2 steam links with the same fault. The 5 volt rail missing, but yet 5 volts on top of the transistor there. Now, obviously, putting all these hours into the steam links is not worth it if you were doing this for a living, because they're not items that are very expensive. But it's just that when I've sunk so much hours into it now, I really, really want to find out what the problem is, even though one of them definitely can't be fixed because I've taken off 2 of the BGA ones and they're not going to be getting reballed. But we've still got one that could potentially still be fixed. But for me, it's more so just finding out what's gone wrong. That's what I want to find out. Anyway, after lots more tracing, going through vias and another via and then a millimetre of trace and then another via and then 2 millimetres of trace and another via and 10 more vias later, eventually I am starting to pinpoint the problem. So many hours later, since I first of all started, we now come to this next bit here. No, we haven't. Yes, we have, sorry. Yes, we have. We got it there. Right, okay, good. So now let's see where that goes to. It's going to be another via, isn't it? It's really impossible. So here it goes down to where? Give it a clean up. Right, it goes down to there. So we've got 2 vias on top of each other. About that much away, more into the board. So it goes from here to, is it something to do with this chip here? Is it coming up on that leg there? So small, let's see. It is, wow. Oh my god, is this chip here faulty? Is that tiny little chip faulty, I wonder? Can't even read what it really says. WRE R5C? HRE R5C? Right, well, let's pop that chip off. We've got a dot here. Is that supposed to be a dot, I wonder? Let's pop that chip off. I bet it's that chip that's failed. So I've taken that chip off, and now I'm going to put back all the other components that I took off, because I was trying to find the fault through. So I was taking off components and measuring as I was going along. Okay, this is exciting times. I think now we're going to have the 5 volts going through. So this side of the resistor, 5.1. This side, there you go, 5.1. That side there, 5.1. And that side there, 5.1. And then it's going to go down. I'm going to, can I even touch that one there? Hold on. Where's it gone to? Let me zoom in. There's fire here, so let me just touch that and see what it says. 5.1. Right, let me zoom out. Hopefully I can show you the meter. Can you see 5.1? Right, what we got here now? Still nothing. I reckon now, let's kill power. I think this is going to go to here, but I couldn't find it because the legs were so small. My probes were too big. So let's go to here. Please come up on this chip. Then we've proved the problem. Come on. Yes! Yes! Amazing. It's here. Right, let me zoom right in and find out where it is. Oh, yes, I was searching for that everywhere. Now I feel foolish having taken off the main chip and the NAND or RAM or whatever it is. But it's here. It goes to that via there. So this voltage regulator has gone faulty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's a 12-pin package. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that because I'm not going to know. It's 12 pins, so it must provide 5 volts on this one, 5 volts on this one. I wonder where the actual voltage comes into it. Probably via here. That might be the input voltage. Well, I don't really know that, do I? Okay, well look, it's good that we found it, but I'm not going to be able to repair the other one unless I can get a little chip like this. So here is the offending article. Right. Just your reflection, WRE R50. Then there's a dot for the corner and then 10. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to. Get these, but I will Google it just to see. Okay, I've been looking online for NRE R5010 or WRE R5010, but then I looked at the other two boards and it quite clearly says WRB, and then underneath it says F5C and then 12. I've been typing in QFN because that's what the package looks like to me. Quad flat with no legs. I think that's what it is. Nothing's coming up. I'm putting in 12-pin 5-volt voltage regulator, QFN, and I can't see anything that looks like my one. So unfortunately, I can't get the chip. So it's going to be a failure video, which is a real shame. But just to prove it was that chip, I know we have really already proved it, I am going to be taking, this is the faulty board here, that, if you have a look, can you see the nothing happens here? So, this is the good board. I'm going to be taking the voltage regulator out of this one here and popping it into this one, just to show, you know, hopefully it working at the very end. Now, I could probably bodge it up because we've definitely got 5 volts going into the chip, and it's just that we haven't got 5 volts here. So, and we didn't have it here because the chip was knocking it out. But I probably could just do a jumper wire between here and here, and that means then we're going to have 5 volts here. The thing is though, what is that doing
Obviously it's given a stable voltage out, and maybe the input voltage here isn't going to be as stable, but then there's also 1 volt going into it as well. There's 10 legs on this thing, sorry, 12 legs on this thing, so it's obviously doing more than just providing 5 volts to this one here. So let me swap this chip over and let's see if it's going to make any difference. I think it will. And I'd say it's probably quite a common failure on these. If they do go faulty, I bet you it's mostly going to be that chip. So this video will still help people, because if you take yours apart and you notice that you haven't got 5 volts down here, then you know that that chip is faulty. So I would have saved you lots of time. There we go, did you see that put into place? Okay, so that went on lovely and easy. You see I added a little bit of leaded solder, so when you do that it just melts so much quicker. And I think it's in place, it's sat in there nicely, and the little dot is still in this top corner here near my manky nail. Right, let's plug the power in and see if we have life on the Ethernet thing here. Ready? Here goes. There we go, fantastic. So let's put this back together and then we'll have to test it on the TV. Great. So yeah, real shame that I couldn't get it working, but at least we proved what the fault was. And if you could get these chips, I'm sure you can if you know exactly what they're called. I think there's going to be an off-the-shelf part. Then 100% we could get this one up and running again, no problem. Okay, so this was the original 41 with a good chip put back together. Now I'm going to do something really bodgy, just because I just want you guys to let me know in the comments why it would be a bad idea. Is it purely because it's not regulated voltage? So let me zoom in and show you what I've done, and then I just want to show you where we have the voltages. Now obviously I know this isn't how it's been designed, because if it was, they wouldn't have paid to put a chip in there. But if you have a look, first of all, what I did is I just jumpered that leg there to that leg there, because this leg is the one that still does go down to here, and this leg here was the one that went across to here. And when I just did that from there to there, we only had 2.5 volts, probably because it was sharing the 5 volts between both of them. I noticed we also had 5 volts on this pin here. So what I did is I attached that one to the middle of these two. So now we've got 5 volts here, and we have 5 volts here and 5 volts here. Yeah. We also have like 1 volt down here. I presume that's measuring obviously something else to then adjust the voltage here to make it stable or something. I don't know. But check this out. If I zoom out now, we do now appear to have the lights back again. So if you have a look here, got the lights here. And if I was to show you the multimeter, I don't know, the voltages seem to look correct. So if we were to go to down here, we've got 5 volts down here. We have 5 volts here. And do you remember the other side here? We got 5 volts now on that one. Do you remember up here that was 1.6 or something? But it was this side. Was it this side of the resistor? Yeah, 1.6. So, I mean, as far as I can see, we've kind of got it going on. But obviously it's not regulated. But would it, if you could just tell me, I know it's wrong, but down in the comments, if you could tell me, is that going to be dangerous? Or because the whole thing is just 5 volts, would it just mean that something's going to be like a dirty signal somewhere? Don't really understand what a voltage regulator does, apart from I think it just smooths the voltage out to make it a steady 5 volts, rather than maybe now it's going to be fluctuating 4.9, 5.1, depending on the power supply coming in, which probably will vary a little bit because it's plugged into the main. So maybe if there's a bit more AC voltage coming in, then maybe it will go up to like 5.1. And then if it's a bit lower, maybe it will go down to 4.9. I don't know. I really don't know. Anyway, look, I'm going to write faulty on this. This isn't going into service. I just purely want to see whether or not it will work. So yeah, let's test these out tomorrow. Okay, so I've been messing around with it and I've got it set up and it's running from this laptop that we fixed a long time ago. Do you remember? Dodgy capacitor. This was Yari's laptop. And to show the power of the laptop, I'm going to show you Garfield running. Why not? So basically, the laptop's doing all the work, and this is purely just streaming. So if you watch this now, get a little bit of volume up, and if I go to resume, there you go. You can see now. Now, obviously, it'd be much better if it was connected via Ethernet. This is just working on Wi-Fi from the laptop to the router or router, and from the Steam link to the router. There you go. So even with this now, even though my Wi-Fi is pretty good, to me it looks a little bit, doesn't look very smooth. But what an amazing game. But if you want a game that makes you rage beyond the limits that you thought you were capable of raging, then Cuphead is your game. And look at it here. And what's interesting is, check it out. This is working on the faulty one here. Not this one. I've swapped over now onto this one. So this is the one that I've bypassed the chip. This was Liam's original one. Right. I definitely had trouble trying to update this one when it came to having Liam's settings on here. But what I did is I reset it. And since I reset it, it is now working absolutely fine. But obviously, that chip was put in there for a reason. Otherwise, they would have just used Traces. So yeah, if you could put it down in the comments, the importance of that chip. And by me doing what I've done, what's the long-term effects, or what's it likely to cause? Because I don't know what the 1 volt rail does. Does that kind of monitor the output voltage and then adjust things to make it a perfect signal, a perfect, smooth output all the time? But yeah, there we go. So that is it for this video. A massive thumbs up to Liam. Is it a fix? Well, no, because it's unfixable. But if I could have got one of those chips, then it would have been fixable. It's a shame that I did take the CPU off the other one, but I was kind of desperate at that time because I spent so long on it. In hindsight now, it's obvious, isn't it? It's 5 volts. It's not going to have anything to do with that main chip. I just thought that maybe, I don't know, I just thought maybe it was going to one of the BJ balls underneath. If I had used needle probes on it, then I would have been able to do it. But remember, look how small that is, and there's 12 contacts in there. You can see how small it is. It's tiny. It's much smaller than a grain of rice. So yeah, the multimeter, it would be hard to pick any signal up from something like that unless your probes were very, very, very fine. I felt like I've learned a lot, and if you've got one of these with the same problem of it being completely dead, I think you should go straight to that transistor that I was showing you in the video and see if you have 5 volts there. If you don't, I think you're also going to have a fault on this little chip here. Maybe that chip's, maybe a lot is getting asked of that chip. Maybe it's regulating all the time, so it's prone to failure. But for me, it's the thrill of the chase rather than having the working product at the end. So we're no worse off. We still have a perfectly working one, and I suppose we are better off because we've gained knowledge, and now I've got something which is working, but you could never sell this as working because I've bypassed that chip on the inside, and I don't know what effect that will have. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a massive thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all very soon. Take care, everyone.